welcome. My name is Jocelyn and today it is time for another makeup inventory. I like to film these videos 1 to 2 times a year just to keep track of how much I've got in my collection, how much I'm bringing in or pushing out of my collection, or using up or decluttering usually. It's just a good way to keep myself in check so that I know how much I have. I did recently film some declutters. Those are already up on my channel, so if you want to see me purging my collection of things that I either no longer use, have too many duplicates of, or just don't like, then feel free to go check those out. Today we're just going over numbers. I do have numbers from my previous inventory to compare to this one, so I will be talking about those as we go through each category. There's definitely some categories that I know I've decreased in and a handful that I know I've increased in. I probably don't need to do much more of an intro, so let's go ahead and get on into my makeup inventory. All right, so first on our list is mascaras. Last update, which was in August of 2019, I had 5, and now I still have 5. So I have these 2 full sizes, these 2 deluxe sizes, and then this 1 deluxe size. This one right here by Trestique is new, and it came from a BoxyCharm. This one I recently purchased and is the one that I'm using right now that I purchased in Vegas. This one I used a little voucher on that I had gotten when I bought a set of minis. So like these 2 came from that set. So I picked that up, and then I still have the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara from that set, and then a mini of the Perversion, which I know I like this mascara, so I'm happy to have a full size and a little mini size. I only use 1 mascara at a time, and I wouldn't have purchased this one usually, but I ran out of the mascara that I was using at the time in Vegas and decided to pick that one up. So I had 5, now I still have 5. That feels pretty alright. Next we have brow products. Last time I had 3 brow products, and I continue to have 3. I have the 2 that I always have, which is the Brow Wiz and the Brow Pomade by ABH. And then I picked up last year at the end of the year during one of the VIB sales this Brow Blade by Urban Decay, and I really like all 3 of these. I could see myself always having these 3 products in my collection. This is really good for travel when I don't want to bring both of these items and carry and worry about having both of these items. I have this one thing that I can use. I do kind of prefer the way my brows look with these 2 products over this one, but the ease of use with this makes it perfect for travel. Next category is eye primer. Last update I had 3, now I have 2. I think last update I was using up an eye primer, so I had 2. I had that one and then the one I was going to replace it with, and then I have this glitter primer by Too Faced. So I have this has been in my collection for quite a while, and then I have this Milani eyeshadow primer. I really like this. I picked this up after I ran out of my Ofra primer, and I really like this. I think that I would definitely repurchase this. So I had 3, now I have 2. Moving on to eyeliners, we're gonna start with pencil liners. So last update I had 7 pencil liners, and I think I have the same 7. I haven't purchased any new ones, but I haven't really used up any of these either. I really should almost throw one of these into a project pan or something because I really need to get some use out of them. If I'm not careful, they will expire if they haven't already expired. I haven't increased this section at all, which is good, but I think by the next update I will have decreased this section, either by having to declutter them because they've expired, or hopefully, ideally, by using them up. Next section is liquid liner, and this section has definitely increased because I've been on a hunt to find a liner that I really, really love, a liquid liner that I really, really love. Last time I had 3, and now I have 4. I don't think any of, well, this NYX one, I might have had a NYX Epic Ink liner at the time that I did my last update, but this one would be a new one because it's been so long. But I have 4 now. I have the NYX one. I'm not totally sure when I picked this one up. The ColourPop one I picked up, I think, last summer. The Beauty Bakery one, the Lollipop liner, I've been using this a lot recently and really, really like it. This I picked up last month. And then I have this Tarte, what is this called? The Sex Kitten liner. I do love this. It is super, super pigmented, which I do really like. And it has this cute little cat top on it. But this isn't my favorite applicator, which is why I ended up picking up this Beauty Beauty Bakery one because I knew this Tarte one was not going to be a total winner for me. I'm going to use it up and I do like it. It's not something that I would repurchase. So I did increase this section by 1. All right, moving on to glitter shadows. Okay, last time I had 21 glitter shadows and now I have 18. I think that's because I haven't added any into my life this last year, or especially since August, but I did declutter. That must have been 2 of them during my declutter. So this has decreased by 2, which feels pretty good. I think I got rid of one of these Kaja liquid eyeshadows and then also one of these Stila liquid eyeshadows. So that feels pretty all right. Next we have ColourPop Super Shock Shadows. Last time I had 13 and now I have 10. So I got rid of 3 of them since August. Is that right? Yeah, that must be right. So that feels pretty good. At one point I had an obscene amount of Super Shock shadows, so now I just have these ones right here that I really, really like using, and I have these actually 3 right here that I'm waiting to open for when I hit pan on all of the ones that are already open. So I'm getting real close on that, so I can't wait to finally be able to break into these. Oh wait! There's one more that I had off to the side because I just put it in a project pan. So I have 11 now, not 10. Okay, that makes more sense. I knew I'd gotten rid of 2 of them, so I was wondering what happened to that last one. So I have 11 from 13. Still feels pretty good. All right, on to single shadows that don't include the Super Shock shadows. I had 21 during my last update. Guys, I lied again. In my single shadow drawer, I found this Sydney Grace glitter shadow that I had just picked up recently that I had forgotten about in that moment. So my glitter shadows went from 18 to 19 from 21. So that category still decreased, but not by as much as I thought. So this is in the glitter shadow section with the ColourPop loose pigments. So, whoops. Okay, on to single shadows. Okay, so last time I had 21. I need to find out if I counted those Kaja shadows as 3 or 1. Okay, so last time I counted these little Kaja stacks as 3 eyeshadows, not as 1, which makes sense because there's 3 in here. So with that being said, I have 23. Let me recount that real fast. 23. Okay, so I have 23 now. I know I decluttered a handful. I did add one of these Hourglass Scattered Light eyeshadows into my collection this fall, and then I also added this Kaja stack. So this is the Glowing Guava one. So that added 3 and then 1 for a total of 4, and then I decluttered a handful during my declutter. So only going up by 2 feels pretty good. I don't feel like this is an outrageous single shadow collection, so that's pretty all right. All right, moving on to highlights. Now I have 10. How do I have 10? Yeah, I have 10. The only one that I think I've added though is this little glitter right here. Okay, so I actually added this one also after my update in August. So these 2 products right here, the Natasha Denona Super Glow and the ColourPop Glitterly Obsessed in Disco Lady. This is a glitter. Both of these came into my collection after August. I wasn't totally sure if I should include this glitter in this category, but I do put it in the same place that I put a highlighter, so I thought that this was appropriate. Although I upped this section by 2, I do either really, really like or love all of these highlighters in here right now. So I feel okay about this since these are all things that I really enjoy using and reaching for. We're up by 2, but that's okay. Okay, moving on to bronzers. Last time I had 3, and now I just have this one Marc Jacobs bronzer. I don't even remember the 3 that I had back then, but now I only have the 1, and this feels all right. I wouldn't mind having a couple others, but I do really like this one, and I have a handful in palettes, so this one is okay for now. Moving on to setting powders. Last time I had 3 setting powders, and now I have just these 2. I have the Hourglass Translucent Setting Powder, and I have the Fenty Pro Filter Mini Instant Retouch Setting Powder in Butter. So I have these 2 that I've been circulating between. I do really like these. I don't think that I'll purchase another one before I run out of one of these because I do like both of these quite a bit. Once I run out of one of these, I'll start looking for something else. But for now, the 2 is pretty good. Okay, moving on to blushes. Previously, I had 7. And now I still have 7. I think that I decluttered a couple, and then I think that this one right here, this ColourPop and Disney Collection one, is the only one that I've added in since my last update. So that feels pretty good. Oh, and I also included this, I think, in the palette section last time, but because this is a full blush palette, there's 2 blushes in here, I wanted to include it in the blush section, but I think that it qualifies for just one. I know I qualified the Kaja one separately, but whatever. It makes sense in my head. Okay, moving on to primers. Last time I had 5 primers. And now I only have the 3 you see in front of you. These 2 on the right-hand side are a little bit older. This e.l.f. one is pretty new. 3 primers feels pretty alright. I think anything below 5 for me is good. I have gotten into trying out more primers recently, but I don't want to build up a collection of them because they do take a while for me to use up. Alright, setting sprays. Last time I had 2, and now I still have 2. I did recently use up this MAC Fix Plus. There is a teeny tiny bit in there. I don't even know. Oh, you can kind of see it back there, but I can't pump it out anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Finally, it's been long enough, and now I just have these 2. I have this Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray in a deluxe size, and then I have this In Beauty Power Up Dual Phase Setting Mist. I haven't tried this yet. It's still in the wrapper. I was trying to use up that Fix Plus, but now that that's used up, I do want to open this up and give it a try. Moving on to concealers. Last time I had 3, and this is a section that has increased by a fair amount. So again, last time I had 3, and now I have 5. When we went into the winter season, I didn't have any concealers that were in my shade, so I went and bought 3 of them for some reason. I bought this Smashbox one during the VIB sale and didn't love it under the eyes, but it works pretty well at spot concealing, so I decided to hold on to it. And then when I placed my ColourPop order, I really wanted to pick this up. This is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. And then while I was in Vegas, I used up a concealer and didn't want to just not have one, so I picked up one of my favorites, which is this Kaja Don't Settle Concealer. I really love this one. So now I have 5. This is a little more than I think I would like to have, but this Bare Mineral one is almost used up, and I did purchase this RMS one last year, so there's nothing here that's super old and that needs to get used up, and then 3 of these are full and new. So 5 is still a little bit much for me, but I feel okay about it. Okay, moving on to foundations. I had 6 last time, and now I have 7, so I have 1 more than I had last time. I don't, again, feel like this is an outrageous amount. Quite a few of these are really close to being used up, like these 2 right here and this one right here, so these 3 in the bottom. And even this one right here is pretty low, and then I have this one, and this one that are pretty full. So that feels pretty good. Most of these will be used up by the end of the year, which is great. So we increased by 1, but I don't think that that's too bad. All right, moving on to face palettes. Last time I had 8. And now I have 5. I was able to declutter a few of them, or 2 of them I think, and then 1 of them got moved from this section to the blush section, which makes up the 3 that are missing here. So that feels pretty good. I do really like the ones that I have right here. This one I am sort of trying to work on to get some more pan in it. There is 1 shade in there that has pan, but we're not there yet. And yeah, so we decreased in this section, which is pretty cool. All right, let's move on to what I call pocket palettes, which are palettes that are smaller or have 5 or less shadows. Last time I had 7 of them. Now I have 8, so I have 1 more than I had last time, but I think that I added in at least these 3 on the side since my last update. These 2 from Kaleidos Cosmetics, and then this one I just got for Christmas from my friend. We had a late gift giving. I think that I got this right after I did my palette declutter. And then the rest of these over here, I think these 4 have been in my collection for quite a while. This one I got, I think, during the summer of last year. So we've increased by 1, but I decreased quite a few of them that I had previously. So this feels all right. These are some of my favorite kind of palettes anyways. All right, let's move on to full palettes. and now I have 29. I'm gonna be honest, I really thought that this was gonna go up by a lot more than one palette because I did declutter a handful, but I felt like I brought in quite a few palettes. Well, I guess I haven't really brought more in since August, only a couple. Oh, I guess that I did decluttered a handful, and then I also used up my Naked 3 palette, so maybe that's where that's coming from. God, I really feel like I should count one more time. Let's count one more time. 29. Okay, I do have, in fact, 29 palettes. So we've only increased this section by 1, which is crazy because I really thought that I had brought in a lot more since my last update. So let me show you the new ones to my collection real fast. So these 6 palettes are the ones that are new to my collection since August, but only one of these I have purchased myself. It's this Natasha Denona one back here that I picked up during the VIB sale this last fall. Really, really like this one. So this is the newest one that I've purchased, and then this Dominique Cosmetics Celestial Thunder I got in a BoxyCharm, and then these 2 up here were purchased by my mom. This one, as we were walking through Ulta, and I made a comment about how I thought the color story was really, really pretty, and she picked it off the shelf and bought it for me. And then this one I just got from her for Christmas. This was the only thing makeup related. Well, I actually had 2 things makeup related on my wish list for Christmas. This was the highest one, and she picked this up for me, and I was so excited. I've been using this a lot since Christmas and really love it. So this she bought. Oh, this one was also actually from a BoxyCharm. So I haven't used this yet, but the color story in here is really, really pretty. So this was also from a BoxyCharm. And then this Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was a late birthday present from my best friend Jessie. She gave this to me. Really unique color story in here, and I've used it a couple of times and it's actually pretty good. So these are all the newer ones to my life since my last inventory. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and count single pan shadows real fast. I'm positive that this has gone up because I did pick up some Sydney Grace eyeshadows after my last update, and I don't think I've decluttered them at all, so this has definitely gone up. Okay, so here are all of my single pan shadows. There's definitely more here than there was previously. Last time I had 116. Now we have 137 pans. There are some highlighters in here, but I just kind of, and one blush right here, but I just kind of count them all as pans. 137 subtract 116. We've increased by 21, which makes sense because I think that that's how, well, I ordered quite a few from Sydney Grace that are actually in this eyeshadow palette right here. And then I think I ordered like 1 from ColourPop when I placed an order. And there's also a handful that I pulled out from the Naked 3 palette that are over here. So that accounts for that 21 increase, which is quite a few. I probably need to go through these at some point and declutter some of them that I'm not using. Single shadows are really hard for me to declutter though, just because I feel like there's so much you can do with these, but there's a lot of them that I'm not getting very much use out of. So I really do need to curate this down a little bit in time. In time that will happen. Okay. Moving on to lip liners. Last time I had 9, and I still have the same 9. So a bunch from ColourPop, 1 from NARS, 1 from Huda Beauty, 1 from Wet n Wild, and then 1 from Essence. So these have not changed at all. All right, moving on to liquid lipsticks. Previously I had 23, I now have 25, so I have increased this category by 2. I know that one of the new ones I brought into my life was this Fenty Beauty one right here. Oh, and I also brought in this one right here, this Nabla one. I think that I also might have gotten 3 new Dose of Color lipsticks. I got the shades Warm and Fuzzy, Nude Mood, and Brick. So I got those 3. So I think that I brought 5 more into my life, but I was able to declutter a handful. Oh, I might have also brought in this Disney Designer one. So I brought in a handful, but I also decluttered a couple and only increased by 2, so that feels pretty good. Okay, moving on to lip gloss. Last update I had 3 and I continue to have 3. I think that these 3 are the same ones from last time. I have 2 ColourPop and 1 Bite. The two ColourPop are in Finders Keepers and Fantasia, and then the Bite is in Dirty Chai. So I still have the three, which feels pretty good. I wouldn't mind expanding my lip gloss collection a little bit more. I have recently found that I really enjoy lip gloss, so I wouldn't be surprised if this increased by the next update. Okay, and the very last category, lipsticks. All right, during my last update, I had 25, and now I have 23, so I have decreased by 2, which is pretty crazy. I don't know that I've added 2, I think. I've added the shade Slow Dance in the ColourPop Blur lipstick formula, and then I also added, I think, this Huda Beauty lipstick after my last update, which is one of her matte lipsticks. This is in the shade Joyride. I think I added 2 new, but I was able to declutter a handful. I just lied. This is another one that I put in a project pan and put off to the side, so forgot about because it was not with everything else. So I do have one more, which means I have 24, not 23, which means I still decreased by 1, but that's okay because I added 2 into my collection and was able to obviously declutter a handful. 24, I feel like, is a pretty good lipstick collection. I look at this and don't feel too overwhelmed. The majority, obviously, here is my favorite formula, which is the Luxe lipstick formula and the Color Splash lipstick formula by Tarte, and then I have a handful of others. That feels pretty all right. Let's talk some final numbers. All right, so now that we have all of our numbers, let's see where we stand. So last time I did this update, I had a total number, so all of these products combined, of 333, which is quite a bit. Technically, I increased that number because I think I added so many single shadows, the single pan shadows, into my collection. So this time my number went from 333 to 352. Now, I did do the numbers not including the single pan shadows just because those take up so much of my numbers, and so last time, if I don't include the single pan shadows, I had 217 items, and now I have 215 if I don't include the single pan shadows. So my full collection, not including the pan eyeshadows, has decreased by 2, which that feels pretty good, because when I look at the increase from 333 to 352, that's an increase of almost 20 items, which does feel like a lot, but I also have to remember that I added in quite a few single pan shadows this time. So I feel pretty good with that number. It's still under 400, well under 400, and I do or should curate those pan shadows down a little bit since it's been a while since I've done that. But other than that, I think that my collection is at a pretty good spot right now. Just about everything I really, really like or love from my collection, and I love pulling for and using and circulating in and out. So I'm pretty happy with my collection. I'm pretty happy with this makeup inventory. I don't think that there was anything that really stood out except for the single pan shadows. Everything else was like just a couple up or a couple down. So I feel like I've done pretty good at curating and maintaining a good number of items. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe for future project pans, inventories, declutters, and all of that jazz, don't forget to do so before you go. All of those buttons are down below, and I think that is everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.